I've been streaming games online for years. It started as a hobby, just me, my PC, and a love for horror games. Over time, it grew into something bigger. I gained a decent following, built a small community, and even made a few close friends along the way. Most of my experience had been positive, except for one. And that one almost made me quit for good. It started on a random TikTok stream. I was playing The Mortuary Assistant, one of my favorite games. My regulars filled the chat, tossing jokes and reactions as I jumped at every little noise. Then, a new name appeared, RealHorror. I greeted them like I did with every new viewer. At first, they fit right in, commenting on the game, joking with the others. Just another horror fan, I thought. A few hours passed, and I was exhausted. I told my chat I was logging off for the night. The usual goodbyes flooded in, but then RealHorror said, "Don't go, stay a little longer." I smiled politely. I told him I was beat, and if they wanted to catch the next stream, to join my Discord. A few minutes later, a notification popped up. It said RealHorror joined the server. I didn't think much of it, that was normal. A few days later, I got off work early and decided to stream again. I posted in the Discord, going live in a few hours. On my way home, I stopped at Starbucks for a white chocolate mocha, my favorite. It gave me the boost I needed. By the time I sat down to stream, my usuals were already there. The chat filled with, "Hey, what are we playing tonight?" and other excited banter. Then I saw RealHorror logged in. He typed "Hey," and I typed back, "Hey, welcome back." And then their next message stopped me cold. "How was your white chocolate mocha?" I blinked at the screen, heart skipping a beat. How did they know that? Had I mentioned it earlier? I couldn't remember, but I forced a laugh. I said it was good, brushing it off. Maybe I had said something and just forgot. I pushed forward, focusing on the game, but RealHorror kept asking personal questions. Where do you work? What's your favorite color? Not too weird, but then, what's your address? I hesitated. I told him I wasn't going to share that. My tone was light, but firm. He responded, "Sorry, I won't ask personal questions on stream." And just like that, they went silent. I let out a relieved breath and got back into the game. Then my phone chimed. That was weird. I had on Do Not Disturb, except for my husband, my mom, and my best friend. I glanced at the screen. It was an unknown number. Then I read the message. "So can you tell me your address through text?" My stomach dropped. I scanned the chat. RealHorror hadn't said anything since I told them to stop. My hands went cold. Maybe it was a coincidence. I ignored the message. Seconds later, another chime. "Don't ignore me. If you don't tell me, I'll have to find it myself." Panic set in. My fingers trembled as I tried to focus on the game, but my mind was elsewhere. My followers even noticed. They asked if I was okay in chat. I forced a smile. I said I was, but something came up and I had to go. As I was ending the stream, RealHorror sent one final message. "Bye. See you soon." I shut off my PC, my heart pounding. I called my husband. He tried to calm me down, told me it was probably just some troll messing with me, but he agreed to head home early. He told me to make sure the doors were locked and to stay in the bedroom, and he would be home as soon as he could. I hung up and stared at my phone. My hands were still shaking. I blocked the number, took a deep breath. Maybe I was overreacting. But then, my phone chimed again. It was the unknown number. "You shouldn't block me. That's not very nice." The phone slipped from my hand. I grabbed it and redialed my husband. It gave me a busy tone. Before I could even react, my phone started ringing. The caller ID read, RealHorror. Ice filled my veins. My thumb hovered over the screen. I shouldn't answer, but rage flickered through the fear. I picked up. I asked him what he wanted. "You should really close the blinds after it gets dark outside." I froze. The blinds. They were wide open. I turned slowly, dread curling around my chest. Outside, beyond the dimly lit street, was darkness. I saw nothing, but someone was out there. I ran to the window and yanked the blind shut. I shouted into the phone, telling him to leave me alone and I was calling the cops. Silence. Then, in a whisper, he said, "Knock, knock." A loud bang hit my window. I screamed, fumbled with my phone, dialing 911. As I stammered out what was happening, I heard a noise outside. Not from the window this time. Shouting. A struggle. I ran to the door and flung it open. My husband was there, fighting someone. The man, tall, hooded, was thrashing, trying to break free. A few minutes later, red and blue lights flooded the streets. The police tackled the man and cuffed him. I finally saw his face. I knew him from high school. He had been quiet, weird, always lurking, but never saying much. I never thought much of him, until now. The police said he had been following me for months, tracking my streams, finding out where I lived. If my husband hadn't shown up when he did, I don't know what would have happened. I took a long break from streaming after that. When I came back, I was careful. No personal details, no location hints, no routine that someone could follow. And every night, before I stream, I always check my blinds. I never expected to have an audience. When I started my TikTok, it was just a way to share my travels with family and friends. Quick clips of my flights, the cities I visited, and the occasional food review. But somehow, it grew. People seemed to like my content. They commented, asked questions, and followed along as I jumped from country to country for work. It became part of my routine. So, when I landed in New Zealand for a consulting gig, I knew I had to document it. I'd always wanted to visit, and since my meeting was only one day, I booked a few extra to explore. My followers were excited, and honestly, so was I. The day after my meeting, I was introduced to Liam, a local guide who agreed to take me through the Southern Alps. He was easygoing, friendly, and more than happy to appear on my TikTok live as we set off in his off-road vehicle. The scenery was breathtaking, rolling hills, dense forest, and misty peaks in the distance. It felt untouched, like a place forgotten by time. But about 20 minutes into the drive, my signal dropped. I muttered curse words under my breath. Liam laughed. He said service was really spotty out here, and I probably wouldn't get it again until we got back to town. I was a little disappointed, but I really didn't mind either. Without the pressure of streaming, I could fully enjoy the experience. Plus, I would just make sure to take plenty of video to share with everyone when I got back. For hours, Liam took me to hidden spots, serene lakes, towering cliffs, and open fields that stretched endlessly. Eventually, we stopped at a scenic overlook. Below, the island sprawled in every direction, the dense forest fading into the ocean beyond. I stood there, taking it all in, feeling the wind rush past me. We were in that spot for several minutes when I noticed something. Everything went silent. No birds, no rustling leaves, no buzzing insects, just silence. I turned towards Liam, and he was already looking at me, his expression unreadable. Before we could say anything to each other, a strange noise cut through the air, a deep, hollow sound, almost like a bird call, but with a guttural edge. I had never heard anything like it. Liam whispered we should leave. I didn't argue. We turned back towards the vehicle, but before we could reach it, the ground trembled beneath us. Not like an earthquake, more like something heavy moving through the earth itself. Then I saw it. Emerging from the trees was a massive creature, walking on two thick legs, its body covered in something between feathers and scales. Its head was the size of a human torso, with sharp eyes that locked onto the landscape. A dinosaur. I stood frozen, my brain struggling to comprehend what I was seeing. Liam yanked me down behind a bush, clamping a hand over my mouth. His breathing was slow, controlled. Mine was not. The creature sniffed the air, its deep clicking sounds filling the silence. I swore it was looking for us. I took a deep breath and regained my composure. While I was still absolutely terrified, another part of me felt excitement. A dinosaur. A real, living dinosaur. I never in a million years thought I'd be seeing something like this in the flesh. Then, the content creator kicked in. I slowly pulled out my phone and hit record. I moved my phone around the side of the bush, trying to be quiet about it. Then, another call echoed in the distance, and the creature turned, slowly disappearing into the forest. I didn't know exactly how much video of the dinosaur I caught, but I was positive I had enough. Liam hesitated, then gestured for me to move. Quietly, we made our way back to the vehicle. My heart pounded as I climbed in, my mind racing. Once we were safely back on the road, I turned to Liam. I asked him what it was that we had just saw. Liam didn't look at me. He said it was something I shouldn't have seen. I started to say something, but Liam cut me off, telling me I couldn't tell anyone about what we saw. I asked him why we couldn't, that this could literally change everything we know about the world. Liam said he couldn't say anything else, but I needed to know that if I told anyone, there would be people that wouldn't be happy. I didn't know what he meant by that, but I could tell he was serious. We didn't say another word to each other the whole ride back to the hotel. When I got back to my hotel room, I sat on the bed, phone in hand, debating. Do I post it? Do I listen to Liam? I honestly thought about it for a while, before I finally gave in. I had video footage of a dinosaur. There was no way I couldn't share this with the world. I uploaded the video on TikTok. The world needed to see this. Exhausted, I went to sleep, anticipating the chaos that would unfold in the morning. When I woke up, the first thing I did was grab my phone. The post was gone. Confused, I checked my profile. Nothing. Not even a notification. I opened my camera roll. The video wasn't there. Panic set in. How was that possible? I knew I recorded it. I knew I posted it. But it was like it never existed. To this day, I don't know what happened. Maybe Liam was right. Maybe someone didn't want the world to know the truth, and they made sure of it. I never used to believe in the paranormal. For years, my TikTok channel had been about urban exploration, abandoned buildings, forgotten places, rumored hauntings. It was always me and my best friend Todd, traveling to places most people wouldn't dare to go. We live-streamed nearly all of it, letting our audience experience the thrill with us. Then came the comment. It was buried among hundreds of others, but something about it caught my eye. Someone mentioned a house deep in Black Hollow Woods, supposedly abandoned with a legend attached to it. Locals said a witch used to live there, and recently some people who went looking for it never came back. That was exactly the kind of story my audience loved. I messaged the commenter for more details, but they told me they had never gone themselves but had heard stories. I tried searching for the house online, but there was no record of it. What I did find was a missing persons report. Kelly Simmons, a 23-year-old hiker who had disappeared Black Hollow Woods 2 months ago. That sealed it. This wasn't just a legend. There was something real to investigate. A week later, Todd and I were on the road, driving towards the woods. The commenter's directions were vague, but we had a general idea of where to go. The deeper we drove, the more isolated the area became. Eventually, we reached the spot where we needed to park. We checked our gear, grabbed our phones, and started the live stream. The audience was immediately engaged as we walked into the forest, talking about the legend and the missing girl. After about 30 minutes of hiking, we found it. The house stood in a small clearing, barely holding itself together. The roof was caving in, the windows were shattered, and the front door was barely attached. It looked like it had been abandoned for decades. Stepping inside, the air was thick with dust and rot. The place was completely falling apart. But as we moved through the rooms, we saw no signs that anyone had been here for a long time. If Kelly had been here, there was nothing left to prove it. The second floor was mostly collapsed, making it impossible to explore. We were just about to call it a night when Todd noticed something. At the far end of what used to be the kitchen, there was a small door. It blended so well with the rotting wood we had almost missed it. It took some effort, but we forced it open. Behind it, a set of stone stairs led down into a pitch-black darkness. The live chat exploded. Some people begged us to turn back, while others egged us on. We had done this kind of thing dozens of times before, but something about those stairs made my stomach turn. Still, we weren't about to back down. We descended slowly, our footsteps echoing in the dark. It was freezing down here. Todd flicked on his flashlight, and the beam cut through the shadows. In the center of the room was a table, surrounded by strange symbols painted in black across the floor. It looked like some kind of ritual site. On the table was a picture of Kelly. Beside it sat a cracked ceramic plate. On it were a fingernail, strands of blonde hair, and a black bow. The same black bow that Kelly had been wearing the night of her disappearance. My phone flickered. The live stream had ended. I checked my signal. No service. Then, a floorboard creaked. Across the basement, another door stood slightly open. Through the gap, a face stared at us. Pale, wrinkled skin, long tangled white hair, a hooked nose, and eyes that glowed a sickly green in the darkness. For what felt like an eternity, none of us moved. Then, the door slammed shut. We ran. We didn't speak. We didn't look back. We bolted up the stairs, through the house, and into the woods. We didn't stop running until we reached the car. Once we were far enough away, Todd called the police and told them everything. They said they would investigate, but I never heard anything else. No news reports, no updates. I went back and watched what we had caught on the live stream. The moment we started walking down the stairs to the basement, the video got really distorted, then ended. The table, the picture of Kelly, nothing was actually caught on camera. I'm not sure what we saw that night. I don't know who or what was watching us from that basement, but something was down there with us. Part of me wishes we would have confronted it. What if Kelly was still down there with that thing?